I know that water is a huge issue for our entire state, and particularly in San Luis Obispo County and the entire Central Coast. And you were at the tail end of coming out of the drought, and maybe the first to go back in once the drought starts again, because we know that it will come back. The drought is not a temporary isolated condition in California. It's really the normal, with some interruptions when we have some wet winters. And we, in California, really have a water system that was designed 150 years ago, as our former secretary knows, and that we have not always been nimble in modernizing it, and to recognize that we're no longer a state of a few million people, that we're a state of 40 million, heading towards 50 million people, and we have to think about water differently. So we are finally starting to take more aggressive strides around water recycling and other ways of being more efficient with the water that we have, and finally acknowledging that we need to stop viewing water as an unlimited resource as we then suffer through the next drought, that there are ways to use water in a better way, so that we can have better sustainability. And we're seeing a number of very aggressive approaches moving through the legislature to increase water reuse, in particular, to move away from discharging wastewater into the ocean, and to stop polluting our ocean with plastics. And so I think we are finally at a point in California, and of course there's always a pause. Once you have some rainy winters, people forget a little bit about water, but I think our trajectory in the long run in California, we're going to start using water differently. And water, of course, drives so many other things, as you know, including housing, and we have to get it together on water.
So I would say the new buildings need to be a lot more different, again, focusing on the topic of difference between the previous models and new models. So they, in San Francisco now, as Senator Wiener knows, every new high-rise needs to have on-site reuse. Every high-rise, 250,000 square feet or higher, they all have to recycle their water out of their tap and shower heads and sinks, and reuse it for outdoor water use or flushing down toilets. Just think about, in your home, very limited amount of water you need that needs to be drinkable grade, okay? The rest of the water that you use doesn't need to be drinkable. You flush down the toilet, drinkable water. We use a lot of energy and resources to turn that water into that grade, and then we flush it down the toilet, right? So, and there's a lot of that happening. So thinking about reusing and recycling water in the buildings is extremely important and can really impact the amount of water we use. So, so every new building has, I think, the technology that needs to be included in these buildings is, one is being able to, they call them gray water systems, so they capture the water and clean it to a level and use it for outdoor water use and flushing down toilets. And the second thing is capturing rainwater and using it for different purposes.